the cortex and the pyramids which make the medulla, so pyramids with renal columns. So this is one pyramid which has many nephrons in it. All the corpuscles and distal and proximal convoluted tubules would be in the cortex, but the lobe of Henle's, they will be going to the medulla. So what they call the arterial veins, renal artery, renal vein. Can you see this? Renal artery, renal vein. Then you have segmental artery. You don't have segmental vein, but you have a corresponding vein, but you don't call it segmental vein. Then you have the interlobar artery, interlobar vein. Can you see them here or here? Interlobar artery, interlobar vein. As you go close to the junction, you call them arcuate vein, arcuate artery. They run side by side, but here they are showing on this side artery, on here artery, here is vein, vein. So they go together, but just for illustration, they showed artery, the veins on this side, arteries on this side. Okay? So we call them arcuate artery. So arcuate vein here, arcuate artery here, and these are the cortical radiate veins, cortical radiate arteries. So you should know these names of vessels here, and the minor calyx. This is the minor calyx, major calyx. You see 1, 2, 3 minor calyxes will open into major calyx. Then several major calyxes will open into this funnel-shaped tube which we call the renal calyx. The whole tubes are called renal sinus. So renal sinus is composed from minor calyxes, major calyxes, then the renal calyx. Then the ureter. The ureter is out of the sinus. So this is the renal sinus, then the renal ureter. From this model, but this model is showing the nephrons. So you see the corpuscles are all in the cortex. All the distal and proximal convoluted tubules are in the cortex. What goes into the pyramids are the loop of Henle's from both. This is the cortical nephron, and this is the juxtamedullary nephron. Cortical nephron, the corpuscle is further away from the corticomedullary junction, and what runs in the corticomedullary junction are these two vessels, the arcuate artery and arcuate vein. Then you have the cortical radiate artery or cortical radiate vein. Okay? Now, from the cortical radiate artery, efferent arteriole will come out. This efferent arteriole that makes the glomerulus, then the efferent arteriole that makes the peritubular capillaries. So this is the number 3, like number 3 is efferent arteriole, then efferent arteriole. You see? Can you see number 3? 3 is efferent arteriole, then this is the efferent. Efferent. E. This is efferent. This is A. A goes in, then comes out as efferent. You see, this is thicker than this one. Then this efferent arteriole is the one that makes the peritubular capillaries. These are peritubular capillaries that end into a venule, then the cortical radiate vein. So this is efferent arteriole, this is a venule that they drain into the cortical radiate vein. They are convergence of these peritubular capillaries. So peritubular capillaries that are shown here, they should cover the distal and proximal convoluted tubules. And I told you how should you know the proximal from distal? This is proximal that comes out from the corpuscle. You see proximal. Then descending limb. Then ascending limb of the lobe of Henle. This is the distal end of it, which makes the juxtaglomerular apparatus here. Then you have the distal convoluted tubules that drain into the collecting duct. That's how you know it. So from here, if you know this is proximal, you should know that this is descending limb, thin segment of the descending, then the ascending limb. On this side, this is the corpuscle now. this tube that comes out from the corpuscle, what do you call it?
Proximal.
Proximal. Now this is a proximal. Now what do you call this?
Descending limb.
Descending limb. Then ascending limb. And then what do you call this tube that joins here?
Distal.
Distal. Okay. That's how you know it. You don't know by direction because look here on this side, for example, this was descending. Now this is descending. So you cannot say from left or right that this is descending or ascending. You have to go by the system. Okay? And several distal. You see, several distal conveyor tubes, they drain into one collecting. So each one comes from a nephron. This is the vasorectum. Can you see the vasorectum? It is coming out from the efferent arteriole. So this is the vasorectum also from efferent arteriole. Like here, this efferent arteriole that makes this peritubular capillaries. And efferent arteriole from the juxtamedullary, this efferent arteriole, like this one, is the one that makes vasorectum. So vasorectum is here. Can you see it? Just for illustration, they put it separately. But this should cover this long lobe of Henle. So imagine this capillary, these capillaries, they should be here, and these capillaries, they should be covering these two tubules.
What was the name of the capillary?
Peritubular, peri around the tubule. So you call it peritubular capillaries here in the cortex. They cover these two tubules, proximal and distal. And the vasorecta is the one that covers the long lobe of Henle of the juxtamedullary nephron. Okay? Did you get that? So this is for this nephron, and these are for the cortical nephrons. Both of them are from where? From which arteriole? Efferent. E. From efferent arteriole. Both of them. Okay? And then both of them, they will drain into a venule that drains into a cortical radiate. This one, you see, it comes out like this, and it drains into the cortical radiate vein. Okay. So you should know these structures, like the nephron, the efferent arteriole, and the structures of cortical nephron and the structures of the juxtamedullary nephron.
Is this segment like this piece right here?
This segment, you see these small dots?
Oh, so it's all of this.
These, can you see the dots here?
Yeah.
These are corpuscles. Like this is a corpuscle, this is a corpuscle. So all these are corpuscles. Each one of these with the tubules will make one nephron. So this is the cortex. Why? That's why the cortex is granular. The cortex is granular because of these corpuscles. And the pyramids are striated. Can you see the pyramids are striated? Why they are striated? Because of these collecting ducts and the lobe of Henle. They are going this way. So collecting ducts, they go through the pyramids, they make them striated. So this part is a pyramid, and the associated or surrounding cortical tissue is what we call a lobe. So this is one lobe.
Okay.
So a pyramid with the surrounding cortical tissue is the lobe. This is one lobe. And the columns, like this is one renal column, another column.
Or in between.
This column is very clear. They are between the lobes.
And it's just called column?
Renal column.
Renal column.
And the arteries and veins that run in the column is what we call interlobar. Why you call them interlobar artery and interlobar vein? Between the lobes. This is one lobe, so they are here. So this is interlobar artery, interlobar vein. Can you see them? Then they make the arcuate artery and arcuate vein. Then the vertical ones are the cortical radiate artery and cortical radiate vein. Cortical radiate artery gives off the afferent arteriole with the afferent arteriole. Then they make the corpus, the glomerulus, then they come out as efferent arterioles, which they make either peritubular capillaries or vasorecta.
Question, what is this stuff here about cat? We have to know something about cats?
What?
Here, on cats. Some of these stuff say on cats, cats to humans.
No. If there's cats, you don't have to know anything about the cat.